All right, and we are recording. Welcome to the March session of the Lincoln County Computer Society program meeting. I'm your Vice President, Adam Drake. President, right behind me over my shoulder is Jim. It looks like we have a pretty full house here today, online and in person. Thanks to everyone who was able to make it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because we are talking about smartphones. This was a topic requested, and we're going to cover all about smartphones. You go slideshow mode here. Maybe. All right. You guys should be able to see that. Looks like you can. All right, so I created this little presentation on smartphones with a little bit of help from Google Gemini. You guys might say, what in the world is Google Gemini? Well, it used to be called Google Bard. I've had ChatGPT helping me with some of the other presentations, and I wanted to switch it up and try an alternative. So Google Gemini is like Google's version of ChatGPT. It's a large language model based generative AI solution, essentially. I used it a little bit, not as much as I thought I was going to. Turns out I already knew a lot about smartphones. All right, so I'm going to wait till I see the slide switch on the screen here. So I wanted to talk first about the history of mobile phones. Everyone here has heard of a mobile phone. Most of us have probably even used one or seen someone use one. So the concept of mobile phones actually dates all the way back to 1908 with the first patent that someone created for a wireless telephone. The first commercial mobile phone service was offered to passengers on a train in Germany in 1926. And in the 1940s, engineers developed a mobile phone systems for cars and other vehicles. All right. More on the history of mobile phones. In 1973, Martin Cooper of Motorola made the first public call from a handheld mobile phone. The prototype phone was nicknamed the Brick, and it weighed over 4.4 pounds and had a very short battery life, as you can imagine. The world's first commercial cellular network, 1G, was launched in Japan in 1979. Motorola introduced the Dynatac 8000X, the first commercially available handheld mobile phone, in 1983. Despite its heavy price and limited features, it paved the way for wider mobile phone adoption. The next phase, which is kind of like the 2G for mobile phones, they became smaller, lighter, more affordable. They look kind of like that picture you see there. I'd say late 80s through mid 90s, even into the late 90s. That's pretty much what a mobile phone looked like. Late 90s is when we started seeing features like SMS texting and games began to appear. I don't know if you guys remember playing the Snake game on a Nokia phone back in the day, but that was fun for about 5 minutes. The iconic flip phone design became popular during this time frame and is still with us today. So the introduction of the iPhone in 2007 is what revolutionized the mobile phone industry as we know it. You started seeing smartphones everywhere with large touch screens, powerful processors, app stores, and they transformed the way we use our phones. They became ubiquitous. You can't go 5 steps without seeing someone holding a phone in front of their face. They offer a wide range of capabilities, which we're going to get into here. So I did want to just say the definition of a smartphone. This came from Google Gemini, and I thought it was pretty accurate. So a smartphone is a mobile device that combines the functions of a traditional phone with advanced computing capabilities. There's a breakdown of the key features that differentiate smartphones from, basic and what we now call feature phones. They have an advanced operating system such as iOS or Android. They typically have a touchscreen interface. There's a few exceptions. They have internet connectivity always. They have cameras, usually have GPS navigation, music and video players. They have higher processing power than the older phones, coming closer to matching the capabilities of a desktop or a laptop. And then they typically have an app store, which is a central location to download and install your programs. Waiting for the slide to update. All right, so I created a slide here because I wanted to talk a little bit about the common smartphone platforms, aka ecosystems. Apple iPhone is the most well-known. Probably it came out, probably a few months before Android. They were neck and neck. They were both in development at the same time. But iOS operating system is based on BSD Unix. It has an app store called the App Store or the App Store. It's copyrighted. Android phones run Android OS. They're based on Linux. They originally called their app store the App Store when they first came out. They got sued and renamed it to Play Store. So now it's the Google Play Store. Some other options. There's several Linux-based alternatives. Seems like every few months there's a new Linux-based distributed, mobile operating system that comes out. Graphene OS is a de-Googled Android operating system. And then Lineage OS is another one that's based on Android that's been around for a little while. And here's an audience interaction question. Does anybody recognize the operating system on this phone in the picture here?
Microsoft.
Yes, that was the Windows Mobile OS. They kind of gave up on that. Now, if you buy a Microsoft phone, like they have one with a big screen that folds in half, it's going to come with Android. All right. So what can you do with the smartphone? So these next several slides, I broke my phone usage down into several categories, and I'm going to go through and just show the apps that I have on my phone. And if you guys want to see what the apps look like, let me know. We have plenty of time. I can open them up and show you if there's any that you're interested in or you've heard of and haven't seen. And then there's one category I forgot to put in here, and I just remembered yesterday during our repair meeting, and someone's going to call me out and say I totally missed the entire category. So I'm looking forward to that. Good. All right. So first category that I have here is smart devices and televisions that you can control from your phone. I have the Aladdin Connect app on my iPhone. I use it to open and close my garage door. I can talk to Siri and say, "Hey Siri," make sure she's not listening right now. Open garage door, close garage door. She does it, 9 times out of 10 without having to repeat myself, which is pretty good. I can also see, I get an alert when the garage door is open or closed. I can look and see the status of the garage door at any time. And that Aladdin Connect is made by Genie, the garage door opener company. And it just came with a small box I mount on the wall of my garage and replace the button where my old garage door button was. I still have the same garage door opener, but it's just an adapter, and it hooks up with your Wi-Fi, and you log in, and it makes your garage door opener smart, which is very handy. The next one you see here is Roku. I'm sure everybody's heard of Roku streaming devices and smart TVs. I use the Roku app to connect to my TV when I'm on the treadmill, and then I pipe the audio through my Bluetooth earphones through my phone instead of playing out of the TV. That way I'm not trying to hear the TV over the treadmill. And it works very well. There's no lag between the video and the audio. And it also has a remote built-in where you can control your Roku device, just like if you don't have the remote, or if you already recline in your chair and the remote's on the other side of the room, you can control it from your phone without having to even move out of your seat. I have a Whirlpool on here. We have a Whirlpool dryer that's on Wi-Fi, and there's an app for that. And if I'm doing laundry while I'm supposed to be working, for example, I'll be upstairs in my office and I can't hear the dryer from up there, but I'll get an alert on my phone telling me the dryer's done. And then it also has an option where if you don't want your clothes to sit there and get wrinkly, you can do a 5-minute extension on the dryer, so it'll keep the clothes nice and fluffy and warm instead of laying there getting wrinkly. It's pretty handy. Another smart device I have that I use from my phone is my Nest thermostat. It wasn't Google when I bought it, but now Nest is owned by Google. And any any function you want to do with your thermostat, you can do it from your phone if you have one of these. I can go in right now and, crank the heat up to 85 degrees and drive my wife crazy if I wanted to. I wouldn't do that, but it's an option. And then you can even, set your fan schedule. So your fan runs a certain amount of time every day. You can, basically anything you can do with the smart thermostat. You can see how long it's ran over the past year or whatever. It monitors your energy usage over time and so forth. It's pretty nice. It even tells you when it's time to change your filter, which is also pretty good. Google Home. I use Google Home for my Google Mesh router for my Wi-Fi in my house. I've got 5 little pucks. One of them is the main router hooked up to the cable modem, and then the other 4 are extensions for that. And I can control all of that from my phone with the Google Home app. The other thing I use Google Home for is I have a smart extension cord splitter that I plug in by the front porch only during the holidays. And so I can say, turn the Christmas lights off and on using that app. And they also turn off and on a schedule too, which is nice. So I don't have to go out and plug and unplug the Christmas lights every day. Next category is audiobooks. I only put a couple things on here. There's Audible. I don't use it, but it's one that's pretty well known. They were purchased by Amazon several years back. The one I actually use for audiobooks is LibriVox. It's great for downloading and listening to audiobooks for works that are no longer copyrighted. So I'm working my way through the Charles Dickens bibliography right now. And so he's been gone for so long that all of his books are free to listen to. And there's a lot of talented people in there reading the books, and they put some real emotion into the stories and everything. And it's really fun to listen to. Sure you guys have seen some of these. There's maps, navigations, GPS, compasses. So Apple iPhone has built-in Apple Maps, Apple Compass. There's Google Maps for Android users. There's one that's a lot of people use on both platforms called Waze. It's now owned by Google, and it uses the same technology on the back end, but Waze is really good for reporting speed traps, construction, debris on the road, cars stalled on the side of the road, those type of things. And if you're using Waze, you'll get alerted when there's a danger up ahead, and it allows you to say, yeah, it's still there, or no, it's not there, hopefully without getting too distracted. Next category is email. iOS comes with Apple Mail by default. I don't know anyone that really uses it. For my work email, I have the Outlook mobile client on my phone. I have Gmail on my phone for my Gmail account, and I recently switched to Proton Mail. So I have the Proton Mail application on my phone also. Authentication. iOS comes built in with Face ID on their modern devices. So that used to be fingerprint readers were pretty common for unlocking phones. It's kind of switched over to Face ID where it uses your camera to unlock your phone. I have a couple of other apps that I use frequently for authentication. For logging into my work VPN, we use something called Ping Identity. It's very similar. It scans your face, and if everything syncs up, it lets you into the network for my employer to log in and work remotely. We have something else whenever we want to access our Outlook and Microsoft Teams from work. We use what's called the Microsoft Authenticator. It's also available on iPhone and Android. It uses your face unlock to get you into those apps if you just want to access your email and Teams meetings and instant messaging without actually connecting to the entire network. And then I use Proton Pass is something I use to store my personal passwords and logins.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Would you keep telling more, because I am not familiar with this. Sorry. And I am not using any authentications, and I feel that I should know more.
Okay. Yeah, let me show you. Let me expand this so I can see myself and see if you can see my phone on the camera here. 1 second. Does this look pretty clear?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna I'm gonna open my work email. And when I click on it, it's gonna open Outlook, and then you see that it's trying to see my face. It doesn't see my face, so it's gonna say try again. So this time, if I say try Face ID again, it'll see my face, and now it lets me into my work email, which I'm not gonna show my work email for more than a second because I don't want people stealing corporate secrets or anything.
Adam,
Yes.
Adam, excuse me, but I don't see any of what you're seeing. I'm still just see the icons on the screen.
You have to change to a different view so you can see the speaker. Because if you go up to the top
I do.
and view and go back to like standard, don't go to side-by-side speaker because Everett's computer is actually the speaker. So you would have to go back.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to go up to the
try
top and
see
go to
everything.
standard. Then you can find Adam in the list.
All right. Sorry about that.
Or you could
But with that,
go back to,
no, I don't want to do that. Mary Frances, did you get to see it?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Is anyone now seeing me that wasn't seeing me before that wants to see it? Anyway, the nutshell is that you authenticate with your face for any of the reasons that I mentioned. It's just an app that looks at your face and then lets you in, basically. Except for the Proton, well, even Proton Pass. I use my face to unlock Proton Pass and automatically autofill all my username and passwords when I'm online, and it also works with these apps. I only use it for personal, not for work.
Adam, Nancy, if
Yes.
that is by face, how about a female who changes hairdos, cuts, whatever? Does it still recognize that person?
Absolutely. I can use it with my hair alternative treatment on, and I can use it with a winter beard. I can use it with a mask on. Not like a full mask, but like a surgical mask.
Uh-huh.
It just works and works and works. It's
Oh.
really good. At least the Apple version is really good at recognizing your face, throughout those life changes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then it basically stores all your pictures and sells them. No, I'm just kidding. I made that part up. They're not supposed to store the picture in a format that you can see, but I'm sure they do. All right.
Even with my bikini?
No comment. All right, next category. Movie streaming, videos, TV shows. There's something that Google owns called YouTube. It's really cool. People call it social media because it has comments. I don't really think of it as social media. I go onto YouTube and consume videos on things that I'm interested in, like this video we're making right now. Prime Video comes free with your Amazon Prime 2-day free shipping that everybody subscribes to. Netflix, I'm sure you've heard of that. Netflix is a way to stream movies and TV shows and some original content from Netflix. And then Plex is what I use for my personal library of movies and TV shows. Plex is something I run on the server at my house, but it has clients on iPhone, Android, Windows, Linux, you name it, and you can watch from wherever you want from your own home machine. Anybody who wants to talk about Plex, let me know. I love talking about it, but it's out of scope for this presentation. The next category I had was stay secure. So a couple apps that I have, I used to run NordVPN. Since when I switched everything over to Proton, I'm now using Proton VPN. I have it on my phone. You can turn it off and on. It's pretty good at about filtering, not just giving you privacy, but also filtering out ads and tracking and so forth. And then another secure app that I like to recommend is called uBlock Origin, which really is good at preventing apps and websites from doing third-party cookies and tracking across domains. All right, next topic that some people have is social media. There's TikTok, owned by China. They're trying to get them to sell it. The only one of these that I have on my phone is Reddit, which is kind of like, instead of being friends with people, you subscribe to topics and you just follow those topics. Instagram is owned by Facebook. It's focused on videos and photos. Snapchat, I know the kids use Snapchat. I don't know. I've never used it, but it's a way to chat and send photos with your friends. LinkedIn is one that's focused towards professionals. I use it on my phone, but I just use it in a browser typically. But it's basically like Facebook, but everything in LinkedIn is supposed to be, work related and so forth. And then X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm sure you guys have heard of that one. Another category that I use on my phone is reminders and notes. So there's Apple Reminders, there's Apple Notes, there's Google Tasks. I'm sure there's many others. There's some that are cross-platform and store your notes in the cloud, kind of like these do. But it's just a good way to keep I have the reminders pinned to my home screen, and I always keep a good list of my to-do items for my personal stuff, like checking oil in the cars, getting ready for the program meeting, those type of things. And also my honey-do list is on there somewhere. Next category, our phones still make plain old phone calls. Sometimes people still use them for that. FaceTime is something pretty popular for Apple users to have. You can use FaceTime for audio or video calls. And then Microsoft Teams is what we use through work for audio and video calls. You can use your phone to manage your photo library. I'm sure if you have an Apple or a Google, you've probably seen this before, but they each have their app, both named Photos, where you go in and manage the photos that you've taken on your phone. I have all of my photos, even from before my smartphone days, all stored in Apple Photos now. So I can access basically every photo I've taken digitally over the past 20 years is all of my Apple Photos, and I can see all of those on my phone. They're all stored in the cloud.
How do you do that?
What I did was I increased my storage in the iCloud. There's a way to, and I share it with my family, like a iCloud family storage plan or something. And then I went to the Apple web page and I had to upload all my photos, but now they're all there, and that's where I keep. That's like my online backup for all my photos. And then I keep a copy of all my photos on my home server too.
You can do that with Google Photos.
I see you. Eddie.
Yep, definitely. What was that?
Did you click the button that says join with audio? Okay.
John, we hear you talking to somebody. All right, so the next category is security cameras. I'm sure people have heard of like the Nest doorbell or the Ring. That might have been supposed to be Nest doorbell. I think that's Nest doorbell. That was a typo. And then there's a Ring is a popular one that people always talk about, seeing Ring videos online, people stealing packages and it gets caught on the Ring video. The one we use here at the church building is this bottom right corner with the little camera on the blue square. It's the Unity Protect app that Dave had me install on my phone. It seems to work pretty well. And then, I mean, every smart camera manufacturer has their own app, basically. The one I have on my phone is called EasyViz. That's the brand of inexpensive cameras that I purchased through Best Buy and Amazon. And I have EasyViz running 3 cameras at my house. So I can go in there at any time and look at live stream of those 3 cameras. And then I can also look at the history, and it'll record anytime there's motion, like on my front porch or in my garage or in the backyard. Music and podcasts are pretty popular. I use Spotify for all of my music streaming and podcast. It's a subscription that you pay monthly. The family plan is like, I don't know, less than $20 for up to 6 people. And my kids have threatened me to never get rid of Spotify because they love it so much. I know Google Play, Amazon Music, Apple Music are all similar. When iPhone first came out, iTunes was the popular thing. People would buy songs. With Apple Music, it's similar to Spotify, where you pay a monthly rate and just basically listen to whatever you want to hear. But yeah, I'm very happy with Spotify still. Yeah, YouTube Music's another very popular one. I get hit up for it every time I'm on there. It seems like they're asking me to subscribe. Yeah, that's a good call out. Yeah.
Choose Pandora.
Pandora, that's one. There used to be one called Slacker Radio I used to use before Spotify. But I like Spotify the best because you can listen to a whole album beginning to end. You don't have to, you get to pick the song you want to hear, skip as many times as you want, no ads.
I
Pretty good.
noticed Amazon Music, if you've got Prime, it's free. So, and there's no commercials.
Yeah, and Amazon Prime Video added commercials recently. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but even if you pay for Amazon Prime, you're getting commercials in your videos now, which is a bummer. Yeah, a lot of people are complaining about that, rightfully so. So the next category I had here was texting and instant messaging. I have the Apple Messages app icon here. I've got the Google Messenger app icon. There's something called Signal, which is like full end-to-end encryption. Kind of, I don't know how anonymous this is, but people claim it's anonymous for texting privately without anyone having the ability to see your conversation. I did put a Facebook Messenger. I know a lot of people that are on Facebook use that for chatting still, especially if you're using Facebook Marketplace to buy and sell products. All your communication happens through
They
Messenger.
watch all that stuff too.
Oh yeah,
Okay, I'll tell you a quick story if I may.
yeah. We're gonna hear a quick story. You got to speak up though.
Speak up louder.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you hear me. All right. So I posted something. I saw something that I thought was pretty funny on Facebook. It was when there was something that happened with the computers, with Facebook and some other stuff one day.
Mhm.
This was a couple weeks ago. And so there was a funny meme about stuck like peering in your window.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, that's kind of funny. Okay, so I put that on my Facebook page, and not many people saw it or commented on it. And I said, oh, you got to see this. This is kind of funny because it's true. And I scrolled back down. You know what? They changed that picture on my page.
Who did? Facebook did?
Facebook did.
That sounds like a good reason not to use Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got rid of my Facebook for similar reasons,
yeah. And,
but to each their own.
well, private messages are not private either.
Well, I would say the most private on this, what you're seeing here would be Signal. The Signal was created for private messaging
Okay.
so that your messages wouldn't be read by Facebook, Google, Apple, etc. for the purposes of advertising usually, but also for who knows what reason. So if I was worried about protecting my private communications, I would probably use Signal. I use Apple Messages for everything.
Skype is also an app that can be installed.
Yeah, I didn't include Skype. It's kind of, Teams is kind of replacing Skype. But we used to use Skype for business. Now we use Teams for everything, but yeah. Weather, people use their phones to track the weather. There's the Apple Weather app. I don't know if Google has its own weather app. I know the Apple one, I think it runs with Weather Channel in the background. There is a Weather Channel app you can download, but last time I did it, it had a lot of ads in it. The Apple Weather app that I use doesn't seem to have any ads in it. And then Weather Underground is another pretty popular one. I'm sure there's lots of others. I know like NBC4 News has their own weather app dedicated to weather. Probably lots of others. You don't have to download them all now, Virgil. We can send out the slide deck when we're done. Oh, okay. Another use for these smartphones is calendars. There's an Apple calendar, mine's empty. There's a Google calendar. If I still have one, it's empty. I use my Outlook work calendar for everything. Usually I'll add stuff like personal appointment comes up. I'll add it to my work calendar from my work laptop, and then it'll always remind me on my phone since I take my work with me on the go everywhere I go. Calculators. Every smartphone has a calculator. I challenge you to show me one that doesn't. Some of them even have scientific mode, which is pretty handy. Fitness and health. This is a big one. So Apple has a fitness app They can charge you extra for fitness premium. I've never found a use for it. I use the basic fitness app that comes with the phone. It integrates tightly with the Apple Watch, which is bottom towards the center of the screen down here. You see a picture of a watch. That's the Apple Watch app. And like these, if you see anybody with a watch with these 3 circles on them, the middle circle is standing. They want you to stand up at least once an hour for 12 different hours during the day to close that circle. The green one's exercise. If you exercise, do a tracked exercise for 30 minutes a day, you'll close that circle. And the red one is calories burned, which varies by person, but it's above your metabolic baseline calorie rate. How many extra calories did you burn just moving around and being active? So I make it a goal to try to close my circles every day, just to say that I did. Google has something similar, Google Fit. Apple also, in addition to the Apple Fitness, they have Apple Health, which is the one with the heart here. And that tracks your heart rate, and it'll pop up and warn you if your resting heart rate has gotten faster over time, or if it thinks you have, like your heart's skipping a beat or something. I put Garmin on here. That's a popular app for Garmin fitness watches, which more and more are becoming full-fledged smartwatches. They'll do things like store music and so forth. From your Spotify, you can even download music to your watch for Apple Watch and Garmin watches, and Samsung Galaxy watches, and many others. Castlight I put on here because it is a app through my work, but it lets you pull up all your insurance cards and everything, but it also syncs up with the Apple Fitness app. And let's say you step 11,000 steps in one day or whatever, you get bonus points through Castlight, and it's automatic. And you go into Castlight and you say, oh, I have so many points from being active, and you get points from saying that you went to the doctor and so forth. And you cash those points in for extra money towards your health savings account, which is pretty handy. Another one, I use my phone for an alarm clock. At any given time, I always have at least 3 alarms set. My daily alarm to get up at 6 or 6:30, my daily alarm to call my parents at 4 p.m., and my Saturday alarm to get up and have breakfast with my buddy. So alarms and timers, I use the Apple integrated timer when I'm painting doors at my house. Like I've only got a couple left, but I went through and painted all the doors in my house. And so I set a 2-hour timer between coats. Pretty handy for stuff like that. Or if you're cooking and you don't want to forget something in the oven, use a timer on your phone if you don't want to use your stove timer. That way you hear it anywhere in the house, wherever your phone is. Next category is web browsers. Sure, these look familiar to you guys. Apple comes with the Safari browser. Google comes with the Chrome browser. Brave is a popular privacy-focused browser that's based on Chromium, the open source software behind Chrome. Firefox is still very popular. Microsoft Edge basically replaced Internet Explorer. It's also based on Chromium, the technology behind Chrome, and it's available on all platforms, even Linux. It's pretty popular. There's some others that are popular, but these are the main ones I see talked about the most. Shopping. You can shop from your phone. Did you guys know that? There's Amazon.
God, don't.
I shop from my phone. I shop using Amazon on my phone a lot. I know my wife does because I'll get an email telling me about my Amazon order. I'm like, I have an Amazon order? It's always something, My wife was watching me create this, and she said, don't forget about Etsy. So Etsy is a place where you go and buy crafts that people make that are related to whatever you're interested in. eBay is still out there for auctions, and it's not just auctions. You go on eBay, and there's a lot of people who have a non-auction price up for their things, and you can just go out there and buy things that aren't being auctioned. There's Best Buy app. I just use the website. Facebook Marketplace. But there's Kroger apps. There's Temu is one I see a lot of ads for. It's Chinese, like Alibaba. Probably wouldn't buy anything from Alibaba or Temu unless I'm a TikToker, but I'm not. Travel. So any popular hotel chain is going to have an app for that. I use Hilton app when I go to Pittsburgh for work, and I use it to check in before I get there. check out when I'm leaving, do it all from my phone, don't have to talk to the person at the desk. You can even unlock your hotel room door and the elevator using the app when it works. Any airline, Southwest is the one I flew on this past week, but any airline is going to have an app to, do your online check-in, monitor the status of your flight, etc. For work, we use an app called SAP Concur, which is it's the app that we use to schedule our trips. I usually use my laptop to schedule the trips on the website, but the app for this is very handy because it lets you take photos of your receipts while you're traveling and automatically upload them to the cloud. And then you can just leave the receipt on the table when you're done eating. You don't have to put it in your wallet and try to remember to scan it later. So anytime I'm traveling for work, I'll snap a picture of my receipt with this app and then just leave the receipt behind. It's pretty handy. I put on here banking and finance. The bank I work for, I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's the 5th largest by deposits in the country. And they have a really nice app called the Virtual Wallet that I use. There's also Google Pay and Apple Wallet. Apple Wallet lets you store not just Visa and MasterCard data in your phone. It'll even let you store plane tickets, concert tickets, anything that's even similar to a payment method you can store in your Apple Wallet. And that's pretty handy. You can take your phone and modern Visas have the tap to pay. You can do that with your phone. It's pretty straightforward. You just double click the power button and then hold it to the thing. Don't even have to take your wallet with you. And then, there's a ton of different investment apps out there. There's the Robinhood is one that's popular for, I guess, investors that get all their advice on investing from Reddit, like to use the Robinhood app, I guess. There's some other ones out there, but
some of the banking apps, I think, supposedly you can have a check you want to deposit, you can do that at home by.
I do that with mine. That's the only way I deposit checks. Yeah.
I tried it quite a long time ago with my Fifth Third bank account. I couldn't get it to work well. It didn't seem to recognize the photo.
I have nothing bad to say about Fifth Third, but the bank I use, the initials of the bank are PNC. They have this app, and my mother-in-law's got the worst handwriting you could ever imagine. And if she owes me money, she writes me a check. And this thing, every time, it recognizes the amount. I'm surprised, but it works. So another thing I thought worth mentioning was a smartphone as a PC replacement. We are definitely at that point where smartphones are now the primary computing device for a lot of people, especially young people. Unless they need a laptop for school, they're on their smartphone. That includes my wife, who won't be seeing this, so I can say she's not a young person. But she doesn't even, she has a laptop for work, but outside of work, she uses her smartphone for everything. But smartphones are catching up to PCs in processing power, your CPU, your memory, then also in available storage. For storing everything in the cloud, the storage on your phone doesn't really make as much of a difference. But Samsung and some others, they have options for connecting your smartphone to a monitor, keyboard, mouse. And Samsung specifically has a mode called DeX mode, D-E-X. And it'll basically, when you plug your phone in that mode, or if you have a Samsung tablet, it does the same thing. It lets you, if you have a 32-inch monitor, you can hook your phone up to it. It'll in DeX mode, it'll look like a laptop or desktop computer, keyboard, mouse. You have access to all your apps, internet browser, and everything. So I think I've never used DeX, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it. And I want to try it someday because I think it looks very interesting. One thing we didn't talk about yet was all the bad stuff that happens when you use a smartphone. So some of the risk of using a smartphone that we have to watch out for are addiction, especially social media. You actually, when you're on social media and you post something and somebody likes it, and you get the pop-up on your phone saying you got 5 likes on that picture of your dinner that you shared last night, there's 5 people that like that. You get a serotonin rush in your brain. It's real, and people get addicted to that. And so you've heard of doom scrolling, right? It's where people are sitting there just swiping, looking for something that they can pause and look at, do a thumbs up, and then keep scrolling. People are always doing that everywhere. It's everybody, including me. I doom scroll through Reddit. But I got 100 likes on something I commented on Reddit last night. Another risk is sleep disruption. The blue lights that come out of your phone supposedly make it hard to fall asleep. I don't have that problem. I fall asleep holding my phone and it lands on my face. That had to happen a couple times. But you can definitely probably sleep better if you just turn your phone off and shut your eyes. Sometimes I like to fall asleep reading something on my phone. A lot of phones and tablets and laptops even have a night mode now where it lowers the amount of blue light. Another common problem is eye strain, headaches, blurred vision, repetitive strain injuries. Have you ever held your phone and had your fingers feel a little numb? That's a problem. People have problem with their wrist from holding their phone. I had trigger finger on my pinky from the way I was holding my phone.
A lot of people lean over like this.
Yeah, it can't be good for your neck, right?
Oh,
Walk around like that too.
If I'm on there, I sit back and I hold the phone up.
Yeah.
I'm not on there for very long because it gets uncomfortable.
One thing I notice is if I'm looking at the small text on my phone for a long time and then I look up to look around, it takes a long time for everything to come back into focus and it's getting worse and worse. Another negative impact of a smartphone is social isolation. You might think that you're socializing with people online. You're probably not really. And then you get sucked into using your phone and you're sitting next to somebody else that's on their phone. That's not social interaction. Mental health concerns. Teens that are addicted to social media are more likely to have mental health issues, including, the worst. Reduced attention span, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if I suffered from this. But, people are so used to having the lights and bells going off on their phone. It takes something, very intense to keep their attention. So you go off to do something else, you get bored. You can't hang your attention on things that aren't as, lights and bells and whistles and amazing. It can be an unsafe distraction. I'm sure we've heard of people that are crossing the road looking at their phone and get ran over by a driver that's playing on their phone, right? Things like that are happening all the time. You gotta look up when you're walking, right? Surprised I haven't fell in a pothole yet. Online harassment. We've heard stories about that. Kids harassing each other. Parents harassing their children's classmates. Privacy concerns with everything people sharing online. It's used for advertisement, but it's also used to steal your identity and also to harass you online, create unsafe distractions and all the above. People's relationships have been known to get strained from people spending too much time on their smartphones, I'm sure. Reduced physical activity. If you're on your phone and you're not closing all your circles, that's a bad thing. And then learning and work performance can be, if you have your cell phone and you're at school, I can't imagine if they had smartphones when I was in school, but the kids today get distracted by when they're supposed to be learning. And then it's easy to get distracted by one when you're supposed to be working too, which you can imagine. Especially if you've ever been somewhere and tried to get service from someone that was glued to their smartphone while they're supposed to be working and helping you with whatever you need. So, digital detox. Has anybody heard of that phrase? It's something that was popular a few years ago, and I've seen it pick up steam recently also, but it's a growing movement to minimize technology consumption. Many people, including young adults and teens, are actually reverting to flip phones as a way to detox digitally and reduce their amount of time. So some of the benefits of a digital detox would be reducing stress and anxiety, enhancing your focus and concentration, getting better sleep, increased presence with your loved ones and people that you don't, want to ignore, more meaningful connections, less distracted communications, reduced procrastination because you're not spending time on your phone instead of doing the things that you know that you need to do, savings on cost because the smartphones are more expensive than the dumb phones or feature phones, whatever, basic phones, they go by different names, and then greater awareness of your surroundings. So basically, the pros to going back to a dumb phone would be the opposite of everything on this list, right? That's all the material I had. Yes, we have a digital detoxer in the room. That's all I had on smartphones. Let me see what time it is. 45 minutes? Wow.
I have a question.
And now we have questions. What's
I
up?
have a question.
We have one in person and then we'll get to you, Mary Frances. That was you, right? All right. Yes, sir.
My brother-in-law called me. I hung up on him.
Yeah.
How in the world do I make it so it's, I'm not accepting calls during a meeting?
Well, if you have an iPhone, there's a switch on the side. You have an iPhone?
I don't, this is the same.
I would just turn the volume all the way down until it goes into vibrate mode. And a lot of phones, if you take it and you lay it down face down, that'll automatically silence it.
Okay.
But that doesn't work if you're using your phone and then it rings and you're holding it and you drop it and then you're trying to shut it off and everybody's staring at you. Yeah, you have to, in order for it not to ring, to be 100% sure, you would turn the volume all the way down until it gets to vibrate mode and then set it face down. But then you don't get to look at it. Sorry.
So there's no airplane, no making noise.
We'll turn the volume all the way down until it goes to vibrate mode, then it shouldn't ring. Usually if you have your phone in silent mode, the only thing that'll override it would be if you have an alarm set.
Adam, why don't you unshare your screen so everybody can see the.
All right, I'm gonna unshare my screen. That's a good idea. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, but what about if you're in an airplane?
Well, the
There's
phones have airplane mode, yeah.
Okay, airplane mode.
Mm-hmm. Like if you, it's similar on Android, but if you swipe down from the top right on an iPhone, you can see your settings for your cellular data, settings for your Wi-Fi, settings for your Bluetooth, and there's a little picture of an airplane there. And if you turn on airplane mode, it shuts off all your wireless technology until you turn it back on. I don't know anybody that uses it,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Here.
I like
Anybody hear me?
airplane mode.
There you go. If you don't want to have anything coming in or going out of your phone, turn on airplane mode. Yep. Not if you're not online, but if you have airplane mode on, your GPS is still tracking you. And then when you turn airplane mode off, it'll upload everything to Google about every step you took and every breath you took and everything like that. Yep. Mary Frances, you had a question?
When you were going through your list and you got to private messages, and I believe you mentioned using Signal. You mentioned using it. Is there a fee?
I don't know. I've never used it. I've only heard of it, and I've heard about it a lot, and I know it's popular. But I mean, I could look it up and see.
No, I will look it up. I just thought maybe you had something to say about it.
Well, let me look it up real fast. Signal. I have a smartphone here. Signal messaging cost. Free to use. No ads, no affiliate marketers, no tracking. It's an independent and it's a non-profit, so they must work on they must work off of donations is all I can figure. So Signal is non-profit, free to use, so that's a good thing. I'm holding out for Proton to come out with a messaging app because they have everything else. They have VPN, password, memory, email, you name it. I use Proton Drive now for my online backups too, aside from my Apple photos.
Good to know.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
No,
I don't know. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I reckon you hear me.
Oh yes. I finally got into that thing. My gosh.
This is
I
your
can hear you
presentation.
fine. Which I know it. That's why I didn't want to miss it. Me and John's been on the phone there for probably 45 minutes trying to get this thing to work right.
Do you have any questions?
No, I just wanted the questions I don't have. I want to know have you been through the iPhone already?
Oh yeah.
Through the phone?
Yeah, we're at the end.
The presentation for the phone, you've already been through it?
Yep. Well,
Okay,
I'll make sure you get a copy.
Yes, give me a copy so I'll
Well,
look at it.
you can rewatch this video on YouTube after Everett uploads it.
That's right.
Okay. Hey,
That'd probably be the thing to do. Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad I finally made it in there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Glad to see you.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I met your aunt over at the, I think she's your aunt. She works over at wait a minute, out east Main Street, out of the Texas places, AAA.
You mean my mother-in-law
Triple A.
probably.
Your mother-in-law.
Barb?
Yeah, I met her.
Yeah, she knows
And
everybody.
She was working on my taxes, not to change the subject. She was working on my taxes, and she found us thinking there. It says, "Ira, you owe $900." And I says, "Oh, why?" And I finally figured out why they did it. Why it was because I've got CDs over at Heartland Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Heartland Bank up there, I got, okay, and I had them up there, and from where we started in 19 to 20, when the COVID and all that hit, it was only 1 point something and this and that, and now it's up to 12%.
Oh, wow.
Right. So he told me the difference. I had to go back to Heartland. He told me the difference. He says, when it goes up like that far, you're going to pay taxes on everything that was above that first, and I've never drawn them out either. He says, you pay
Sounds like a
taxes
good problem to have.
Yeah, you pay taxes on everything that goes up above that, like you've had 2% or 1%, and then it
Yeah.
goes up above that, you have to pay taxes on. And I
Yeah,
didn't
my
know that.
mother-in-law, she probably won't
She
watch
knows
this.
that.
She probably won't watch this video, but she's a wonderful woman, and she's been helping people with their taxes for years. So she's really good at that.
So I'm hoping I get her back the same time what the trouble was when we left, she thought we were coming back and they were going to hold it for us. But we were so tired after we left there, and then we went over to Heartland and we just come home, and we thought we maybe we'll go back the next day, and we're due to go back the 19th, this coming Tuesday.
All right. Hopefully she's there. She's usually there whenever they're doing taxes. She should be there.
I hope she
Excuse
still
me.
has it. That
Excuse
was a
me,
shock to
Adam.
my system.
Uh-oh.
Because
Mary Frances?
Excuse me, Adam,
Yes.
do not ask Barb Tolk if she knows Mary Frances. You will hear stories.
It's
Whoa,
too late. She's already told me all the stories.
evidently not. You're still speaking to me.
Well, they match up with what Dave told me, but not with what you've told me. So 2 out of 3.
I'll tell you one thing, buddy. Your mother-in-law thinks you're the greatest thing on earth.
Oh,
Well,
Yes, she
according-
does.
Say that.
I'll tell you that.
according to her, you
Everett,
are-
we can cut this part out.
Are we gonna end the meeting and I'll just,
Yeah, do we have any other questions related to
Okay,
smartphones?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I was, one thing I was thinking about,
A little louder.
a lot of, you see a lot of these optical character symbols now that you can point your camera at.
Oh, the 2D barcodes? Yeah.
Yeah,
I just use my regular camera app for that, and when it'll pop up a link, and then when you touch it, it takes you to the web address, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Kroger, for example, some of the products will have these optical character,
Yeah, it's just a 2D barcode is all it is. Yeah,
the QR code.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
QR code. 2D
Okay.
barcode sounds too boring, so they had to make up special names for it. But
I got a
yeah, that's
question.
another. That is a handy use of a smartphone. Yeah.
I got a question on a smartphone.
Yes,
I
Ira.
got PayPal. I got PayPal.
Mhm.
And I've always had paper sent to me that they're gonna raise the paper. You pay a month to $1.99 a month if you keep the paper. So I said,
You
just
get
go
paper,
ahead.
you mean you get paper statements from PayPal? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I got paper statements for them all this time.
Oh, okay. I just
So
get an
now
email
I
from
changed,
them and I never look at it.
I changed, and then they want me to go the other way. What's the other call when they send you
Electronic statement.
electronic statements? I hope you're around, or hope somebody's around that can do that, because I tried it the other day. Of course, we already had the paper statements for that, and it wouldn't let us download anything. But she said on March, the 25th of this month, I'll get a electronic statement
Mhm.
and an email. Now, when I go in there, all I want to do is print the whole thing out. It shows everything that we've had. Can you do that? Is that what it printed out like that?
Yeah, I mean, anything that's in a web browser you can print basically. I I would either just keep it stored on the PayPal server and accessible from the web, or download it and just save the electronic copy to your computer in a safe location. I don't know that I
I've
would
got,
print it out unless I needed to highlight it or something.
I won't print it out there. Can I print it out on my phone?
Oh, if you have a printer that works with your phone, yeah, most printers
Yes.
don't, but some newer printers will let you print from your phone.
Yeah, I can print from my phone anything else that comes on,
Oh, yeah.
on the web.
You should be able to do
But-
that.
But what I'm saying is, it does know, I tried it and I couldn't get 2000, what was it?
Yeah, without seeing your phone and your printer in action, I wouldn't be able to answer
Okay.
that.
Okay,
that's all I wanted.
I don't have anything about smartphones, but I do know it's smarter than I am, and I'm not happy about that. But anyway, all of us have to remember our president sitting behind you, Adam, is going in for surgery tomorrow morning. So we'll all have to think about him.
Yep. Good luck, Jim. Happy surgery.
I've been praying for you, Jim, so that's all that matters. That's right.
Hey,
Adam?
Bobby, you have your hand up.
Yeah, well, I just had a couple, the apps that I use that might help people is
Yeah, that'd be great.
the police scanner radio. You have to have that to find out where all the fires and the police are in your town.
Now, is that for safety reasons or is that just out of pure nosiness?
Nosiness.
Nosiness,
And-
okay.
Well,
And I
That's
live
good.
in a big city, so
Oh, okay.
it's not like a little town, like you guys only have one police and one
Yeah.
fire. But at least you can tell if what's going on around you, like the house next to you, if something goes on.
Yeah,
And
my
I
wife,
also,
my wife uses Facebook for that. There's something called Licking County Scanner Heads where the people listen and they put a post every time there's something happens.
yeah, well, we have a similar thing, but I live in a much bigger city, so I
Okay.
have a lot of other things to watch. The other thing I use a lot is Gas Buddy.
Mhm.
Because you don't have the same problem I do, but there's a lot of gas stations here. And
Yeah,
I also have
that's
Grammarly
handy
on
around
my
here
phone.
too. What was the other one? Sorry.
Grammarly on my phone.
Grammarly?
Yes,
So Grammarly is good for, checking your grammar when you're typing out things.
Correct.
I don't use it, but I know I've seen advertisements for it and I know it's pretty popular. So did anyone catch what category of smartphone app that I totally forgot to put in my presentation?
I have one.
No,
What about nature? And I use mine to identify like wildflowers, birds.
All right, so Carol was talking about apps that identify wildflowers and birds. That's not the category I was thinking of, but that's also good to mention. I don't use my phone for anything natural.
Yeah,
All right.
Cookie.
I have an app.
Cooking recipe apps, Dave, that's a good one that I didn't put in here, but it's the biggest category that I forgot. Terry, what is it?
Religious apps?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I only went with things that are on my phone. I don't have anything religious on my phone. But this other category I also don't have on my phone, but it's probably the #1 category that I forgot.
Tracker?
FaceTime.
How
What?
about tracking? Tracking.
Yeah.
Nope.
Travel. Birthdays.
Travel.
I had travel in here. You weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
And birthdays.
FaceTime.
FaceTime?
FaceTime.
Nope,
You already said
that's not it. This is a whole category that I forgot.
Give us a hint.
The category is the most fun category on the games. Games. I don't have any games on my phone, so I didn't even think about putting games. But
Well,
people,
don't do it.
people use smartphone for games probably as much as anything.
not me.
Not me.
Well, my wife plays Candy Crush Saga on her phone, and she's literally on like level 12,000 or something. And I've used my phone in the past to play like Pokemon Go, where you walk around catching Pokemon with my son when he was little. It was kind of fun. But yeah, games. A lot of people play a lot of games on their phones. And I didn't even think about putting it in the presentation.
Those
So after I was
those are
done.
people with too much time on their hands.
Do you hear that? Well, the reason I don't play on my phone is because I have a gaming laptop at home and a Nintendo Switch. If I want to play games, I play games on that.
Just saying. You don't know.
You have to make time in your life for fun things like games, especially video games. Right, everybody?
Yeah.
All right, Everett says yes. All right. Any other smartphone related questions?
Going back to the security cameras, you said
Yes.
somebody had you download an app. So,
Dave had me download one for here at the church so I can see people that come up and ring the doorbell to get in. Yeah.
is that on a Nest or is that on? Well, that's what you looked at.
It's the Unify Protect, yeah. It only works if you have Unify brand equipment.
What are the exact steps to do that?
That's beyond the scope of this presentation. So you mean to set up like a smart doorbell with a camera or whatever?
Yeah, or what's that Simply Safe thing?
I don't know what that is, but if you buy a smart webcam or whatever, it'll come with all those instructions for mounting it, hooking it up, connecting it to your Wi-Fi, connecting it to your phone, downloading the app. They give you step-by-step instructions.
We have Simply Safe in my house, and what I heard is you're gonna have a security system that you really want it to be unbreakable. Don't have the wireless because they're all running on 4G.
Oh, okay.
People can with the
That's not true. Mine just runs over your Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi signal at your house is as safe as anything else that you run over Wi-Fi.
They told me, no, you got a hardwire security system.
That's not true. I don't think so.
That's good.
I'd like to be able to watch YouTube on here, but I'd like to see it on my
Yes.
smart TV.
If you have the YouTube app installed on your smart TV and YouTube on your phone, a lot of the times you can look for the
Since you were. so
YouTube video on a
nice
watch and you can cast it to your YouTube app on your TV. I do that a lot.
How in the world do I put, I mean, I've never programmed my smart TV.
We just install the YouTube app on your smart TV, and then if you're on the same wireless network, your phone, when you're watching YouTube, will see that there's an option on the network
How do you install a YouTube
on your TV.
on my TV?
Depends on the brand of TV and so forth.
So it should be in the instruction.
Depends on the TV. Every TV is different.
You can do an internet browser on your smart.
Or you can, most smart TVs are gonna have a YouTube app.
Yeah.
And then you can connect that way.
Mary Frances, one more question.
Yes.
I'm writing down names of attendance incentive recipients. And on one of the participants, it says Mike F. And I don't have his last name.
Fleming.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other smartphone questions?
Just a comment.
A comment?
Yeah, I have a son and grandson out in California, so I do some air travel. And
Mhm.
It's just nice. I see a lot of people watching movies on their phones when they're on the plane. I've done that too.
Yeah.
Last time I downloaded a movie from my Amazon Prime account onto my phone.
You can watch it even when you're offline?
Yeah.
Oh, that's real handy. Yeah. Yep. I played Nintendo Switch on my last flight and listened to audiobooks. But yeah, it's definitely good for watching movies. Just make sure you have earbuds so not everybody around you is hearing your movie. All right. Thanks for that comment. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. All right. Thanks everyone for attending and for viewing the presentation. Everett, if you wouldn't mind stopping the recording, we're going to get into the door prizes. Did I say
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.